Yes, indeed, folks, it's time for the illusion of choice.
In the mountains.
Yes, glass is breaking in the mountains because it is at too high altitude and too cold, thereby causing the structural integrity of the piece of glass to weaken. Yes, there's a rudimentary physics lesson for you. Right, ladies and gents, we've got an illusion of choice here. It's called Arena, ruining the game since 2007. Oh, we love this. Right, here we go. Here's the topic. How about how the arena is constantly... No, right, okay, I'm going to read this in the style that I think it should be. As an outraged upper-class man. Here's the topic. How about how the arena has constantly affected the PvE game by inspiring endless nerfs to most, if not all, classes since TBC? Even prot warriors have been nerfed in PvE due to PvP reasons. What would WoW be like without the arena? More fun? I'm willing to bet yes. Sincere on Kazakh EU. If no space for illusion of choice, I'd like a shout out to Valve on Kazakh for downing XD hard mode and in the mountains drop-in, please.
In the mountains.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I don't like it when arena affects my PvE. I'm very protective of my PvE. But here's the problem. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, Blizzard decided that their game was not only going to be PvE. Indeed, they decided it would be PvE and PvP, which meant, of course, they had to cater to both sides, and neither side would be happy as a direct result of that. If you want to identify the one massive mistake that Blizzard made in the development of World of Warcraft, it was listening to people who asked for PvP. I'm sorry, PvPers. And there's a lot of you, and I have no doubt that I'm going to offend several of you because you get very upset when your worldview is challenged. But here's the fact of the matter. PvP in WoW is nowhere near as good as PvE. It just isn't. It's not. I'm sorry. It just isn't. There's not enough development time behind it. There's not enough good ideas behind it. PvP means nothing. It really doesn't. Look at all these other games that do it better. And look at these games which decide not to do it at all. DDO, for instance. You know, I've been harping on about this one. And sadly, the release of the new Eberron Unlimited client has been pushed back a month, which makes me very, very upset. Oh, dear. Well, they end up getting back to WoW in that time. See, Turbine, you lost me. It's your own fault. Get your game sorted. So, DDO has, like, no PvP. It's got... The stuff it's got is like a barroom brawl and some stupid arena, but they don't balance the game around PvP at all. They do not care. It's all for naught. Yeah, you don't get anything from PvPing in that game. Awesome. Thank the Lord. There are certain games that do not need PvP, and there are certain games that do not need PvE. PlanetSide has no PvE in it whatsoever. EVE Online shouldn't have any PvE in it whatsoever, because it's really bad. The entire game should be PvP. All of the PvE stuff in EVE is absolutely awful. There are games that have done it relatively well, but those games tend to bias one over the other and not let one affect the other too much. Warhammer, for instance, most of the balancing goes in the PvP balance, and if it affects dungeons, then tough. You know? And to be honest, that's the attitude I take with PvP and WoW. The problem with the arena, and the reason why it ruined it more so than Battlegrounds. Yeah, I'm cool with Battlegrounds, okay? I'm fine, because that's generally a big fight. There's not really much balance involved in Battlegrounds. Sure, the issues crop up, but as stated by an FAQ recently, indeed by Ghostcrawler, balance issues do not crop up anywhere near as much in Battlegrounds as they do in arenas. And that is, of course, absolutely true. Because arena... it's raw 3v3 or raw 5v5, and class balance becomes extremely evident and extremely important. Because otherwise you can build a team that beats other teams, not on the basis of your own skill, harf darf, but on the basis of what your team consists of. That's never a good setup. Never. I'd never want to be involved in that. That's why I don't get into arenas at all. The problem is that arenas were aimed as an e-sport. They're way too much of an e-sport, therefore balance has become vitally important for arenas. And of course that is having a direct knock-on effect. Now, they are actually doing something now that they said they didn't want to do because it was not an ideal thing. And that was they're changing the way that arenas abilities work in PvP versus how they work in PvE. So there's 2 different versions. Of course, that makes the game ludicrously complicated. It does. It's unfortunate, but it does. But it is a reasonable way to balance the classes. I'm gonna be honest here, you can't have it both ways. You can't claim that PvE and PvP are both equally important. I mean, they're not. I'm sorry, in terms of development time, in terms of endgame content, they are so not. Let's compare how many battlegrounds have been put into the game since launch versus how many raid instances have been put into the game. And let me ask you which one of them takes longer to develop. I'll tell you what, it's going to be the raid instance, because there's no encounter design involved in making a map with a battleground. Oh no. Let's see, we have 5 battlegrounds currently. 3 of them were introduced in vanilla, 1 in TBC and 1 in Wrath. So in 5 years we've had 5 battlegrounds. In 5 years we have had a lot of raid instances. Which do you think gets the dev priority? I can tell you, it's obviously the raid instances. The raid content is the dev priority, which means that balancing arenas and balancing battlegrounds should not be the dev priority if it affects PvE in a negative fashion. It shouldn't. It's like, oh, great. You know why people are annoyed so much by this? Yeah? They don't like being affected by other players when they themselves have done nothing wrong. It's like, hey guys, my class is perfectly well balanced in PvE. I'm enjoying it. All of my raid are enjoying playing with me. I'm not overpowered in any particular respect. I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm sorted. I am happy. I am satisfied with my class. But wait, they've just changed a bunch of our abilities. Why would they do such a thing? Oh, because Scrubs McGee over in PvP has an issue. Yes, he does. This guy over the other side of the planet has an issue, so therefore we're going to affect my service, the way that I play. That's why people get so annoyed by it. It should be obvious. Sorry. I was moving further and further away from the microphone in sheer rage. It's what happens when you project too much hot air at the wall. It gradually moves you backwards. Laws of physics, folks. You learn a lot on this show. So yeah, I am absolutely, totally with the people that get annoyed by that, because I too get annoyed by it. And I'm sorry if the PvPers get upset about this, but arenas don't need to be in the game anymore. They're basically a failure. We've seen esports casting, for Battlegrounds. It has been done. It was done at BlizzCon 2005. Why is it that we can't esports cast that? Why can't we make Battlegrounds in an esport? For God's sake, we did it with TF2. TF2 has teams of, like, how many? Massive, great maps. We don't just have a silly arena and have them fighting it out. It's better to commentate on the flow of a battle than on individual things that are going on. Because, right, I can comment, say, on certain things like, oh, that was a good shot in an FPS game. I can't do that in WoW because all I'm seeing is a bunch of flashing icons indicating abilities going off at 1,000,000 miles a second. I tried commentating in Arena, for the Shoutcast contest, which mysteriously has not been announced yet. Blizzard, if you're listening, put us out of our damn misery, please. EU Shoutcasting contest, announce the winners so we can finally get on with our lives. And where's the post on the front page of WorldOfWarcraft.com stating that our very own Emperor won the US Shoutcasting contest? Where is it? Tell me. Are you trying to sweep it under the rug? I certainly hope not. You got a lot of talented people out there, Blizz. You really do. Be nice if you gave him a good pat on the head instead of saying, oh yeah, here's your prize, now go away. How very, very unpleasant. Right. So, I think the arenas they've just gotta go. Either that or they need to stop catering to them entirely. Battlegrounds are better, period. Battlegrounds are so much better than arenas, in every possible way. I love Battlegrounds. Arenas suck. Alright, look at the better PvP games. Look at how many of them have Battlegrounds and open world PvP versus arenas. Like, all of them! They realised that arena play doesn't work so well in an MMO because it's really boring. Combat in an MMO is not very interesting at all. So, what do? You make a grand battle. That makes it more interesting. The same way that PlanetSide worked. It's like the bigger battles are always the best thing about it. The combined arms, the huge waves of players. The one-on-one dueling in PlanetSide compared to a normal FPS is absolutely abysmal. That's just the nature of MMOs. They're naturally not going to be as good as smaller form games in terms of the mechanics, in terms of the interface, and in the terms of ways people interact with their characters. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. At least not in the next 5 to 10 years. That I can guarantee. The technology just isn't there yet. So stop pretending. Put the dev time back into the Battlegrounds. Stop making stupid changes on the basis of that, because you know what? The balance changes don't matter so much in Battlegrounds. Because you've got so many players, it pretty much evens out. You're always going to end up with some crazy encounters in Battlegrounds. You don't really complain about that. If I randomly ride into a bunch of 10 players, I don't suddenly go to the forums and cry for nerfs. It doesn't happen. Because I just know, oh, you know what? Look at the draw, it happened, whatever, respawn. You know, I don't have permadeath in the Battleground. I don't care if I die to a superior number of players, or if I end up dying to a class which has a better counter to me than I do to him. Why should I care about that? Why would I get emotional over such things? It's pointless. So yeah. Blizzard, esports, Battlegrounds. Your most successful esport is something which has 1,000,000,001 things going on the screen at any given time over a large map. So why do you think that your second successful esport, indeed your third successful esport, after 2 very large RTSs with a lot of things going on across a large map, is going to be 6 players in the middle of a circular arena beating on each other? Why do you think that's going to work? Those were your 2 successes right there. What did you learn? Nothing. Instead of having Battlegrounds, which is, let's see, how does that compare? It sounds a little bit similar. Oh yes, 2 sides in a big map with a lot of stuff going on. Oh yes, it sounds the same, doesn't it, Blizzard? It sounds the same. It sounds entertaining to watch, entertaining to commentate on. I would love to commentate on the flow of battle. Hey, I used to commentate on Savage 2. That's got like teams of 8v8 on a big map. I seem to be noticing something of a trend here. Let's have a look at other successful esports. Counter-Strike. Oh look, it's 2 relatively large teams on a big map. You can have the brawling and the arena stuff, but in a fighting game environment, not in an RPG. Come on. Would you do it in D&D? And guys, we're ready to watch them roll their D20s here on the D&D Expo 2009. And the crowd goes wild. No. Don't do it. Stop. Stop pretending that arenas are gonna be awesome, amazing, successful esport. They're not. They're not. Put Battlegrounds up there. Make more Battlegrounds. Make them the esport. Give us spectator mode. Give us the ability to cast them. They'll be really entertaining. Objective-based gameplay is way better than wailing on each other. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running out of time. You've been listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio, the special Extendo edition. Yes, go Gadget. You got a couple of minutes to send your shoutouts to me at themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Alternatively, you can send it in to my IRC client. I am hanging around. IRC.MMO, IRC.com, #pound WoW Radio. Click the chat button at the top of the screen on WCRadio.com. Yeah. Or send me a Twitter, twat, I don't know. Send it to me at Total Biscuit. That is at Total Biscuit. Shout-out time, folks. Not 1, but 2 shout-outs. First shout-out to all the members of Illuminatus Pax Portavi, who tuned in for today's Blue Please. Second shout-out for Anu Barak. We all knew AN was merely a setback. That's from ANS on the Steam Weedle Cartel server. Can I get a shout-out to the Hunted and Lake Crew Airy Peak Alliance for their first Yogg on kill. We love your show, Total Biscuit. And we love your guild. Guy? Yes. Yes, indeed. What else have we got? Can I get a shout out to my guild and the Knights of the Phoenix on Antonidas? Yes, you may. Can I get a shout out to my guild from Duratar with Love on Argent Dawn EU for being fantastically awesome, as well as a shout out to Blade and Quill on Karak 8 Peaks for being the most friendly but damn hard in a casual way guild I've ever been in. And a slash salute to the instance group yesterday that spent 12 hours learning new bosses without exhausting, bitching, or losing morale. You guys rock. Huh, well that is impressive. Can I get a shout out to Wishnix on Boulderfist EU for getting 2k rating by carrying a blue gear DK. I am terrified. Shout out for not one, but 2 hoggers, please. That's from Rugbull. A shout out to Natural 20 for an awesome pilot. He was epic. Yes, I did just say. Epic. Yeah, you want to listen to that. He's not on this week because he's offered a debating championship. That's cool, man. A shout out to the Guild Deliverance on Barthalas, US, from Court. A shout out to me for getting back in a WoW for the first time in around 2 months. That's from Dunkirk. Shout out to Turbine for making a game I wouldn't pay for free. What? Okay, that's from Shinoda. A shout out to the Ironclad Regiment, a Warhammer Online Guild on Carrot Norn, who are awesome. We have a lot of beards. A shout out to High Elves, High on Magic. That's from Limus, ladies and gents. I am done. I am absolutely 110% done. You have been listening to Blue Please here on Wire on Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Check out the rest of our shows on WCRadio.com. You'll be glad that you did, because they were all awesome. If you have missed any of this show whatsoever, then you may indeed check out our archives on the website and all that good stuff. I'm out of here, folks. More Louvete, you say? Yes, I would agree. Good night.